Speculate on just when that mine will be safe to re-enter so this investigations can get rolling?
Again, we can't speculate, and of course, MSHA is pretty much in full control of that timing, and it will depend to a great extent on, how they want that work done, and whether they're going to allow immediate start. So I couldn't speculate at all. Ken.
Ken Ward from the Charleston Gazette. Admiral Inman, you referred to this idea that's out there that your company puts profits ahead of safety is the big lie.
I'll be happy to reiterate to you. There is not only is it not true, but even when you infer it, you dishonor the members and the management of Massey. In 25 years, never has there been a suggestion that you crimp on spending on safety to boost profits. So it is, I repeat, it's a big lie.
How do you reconcile that with the fact that one of your subsidiaries, Aracoma Coal Company, pleaded guilty in federal court to criminal mine safety violations that resulted in the deaths of 2 miners?
There had nothing to do with profit. In performance, sadly, you do not always live up to the level of competence you'd like to have from everybody. But profit had nothing to do with the Aracoma fire or the penalties that were paid afterwards.
It's all right. Let me just take a minute and add to that. We have nearly 7,000 people that show up every day to work in Massey coal mines. I've known for a long time that my #1 priority was to take care of these people. I put gasoline in coal miners' cars before I was a teenager, and know the pain of someone coming home in Mingo County and not coming home, or learning that someone had had a fatal accident. So it's been in my heart since I was a kid. When I first became president of Massey, I started some best practices programs, believing that the industry and Massey and every other company lacked documentation of best practices relative to safety and relative to productivity. The naming of those 2 programs speaks for itself. S1, safety is job 1. P2, production is job 2. And that's been the case for my entire tenure. At or about the time I became president of Massey, the NFDL rate, the accident rate, was around 8. In the first quarter of 2010, it was under 0.8, which is a 90% reduction in the number of accidents. Statistically, if we had the same number of people when I became president that we have today, we would be having 40 accidents a month. Currently, we're having about 40 a year. So I know what we've done. I know how we've done it. We've done it by, as I said in the opening statement, trying to engineer dangers out of mining. That's the reason, as Admiral Inman refers to, the tens of millions of dollars we've spent on extra features in our mining equipment. Many of those features have been adopted by the rest of the industry and or into law. They include submarine kits on dozers that if you sink down in the coal, you can survive. They include something as simple as reflective clothing, which I even see on the Chinese during films on them. It includes the ability to recover a continuous miner that by remote control is out from under a supported roof without having to send a man out there to get it, because we can remotely return the tram to active status and get the miner back. It includes so many things I couldn't begin to list them for you as we sit up here. All those innovations came from Massey and from 20 years of effort to put safety in front of everything else. And anyone that suggests anything to the contrary is totally wrong.
In the coverage after the accident, an official kept saying that all accidents are preventable. All actions are preventable if you shut down the mine and do not operate. Mining is, there's no way around it. It is a dangerous business. And our charge every day is, can we find ways to reduce that risk in the process? And what lingers now until we know what actually caused the explosion? Was there something we hadn't done that we could have done that would have made a difference?
One of our biggest safety features has been using equipment where we can instead of men are using technology so that we don't have anyone there at risk. You know, a mine like this, UBB mine operated by other operators 20 years ago would have probably had 300 people in it. And the safest way to prevent bodily harm is through technologies and equipment. Yes.
Stan, you talked about the process, I think, of D sequence and D orders being the most serious charge.
Yes.
How do they affect, I didn't quite understand, how do they affect subsequent violations from that, if I understood that correctly?
Yes. Yeah, the way the law is written, and this is from memory, so, but it says that if there is a D order issued, then if there's a violation of a similar nature, then the inspector must write that violation as another D order if it occurs within 90 days. It doesn't have to be as serious, and in fact, it could be a violation that would otherwise be written as what's called an A order, or the standard MSHA violation. But what happens is that once you get on a D order sequence, times it can be very difficult to get off because routine violations turn out to be subsequent D orders.
Let me go here.
Sorry, Dave Farenthal from the Washington Post again. I wanted to ask two questions. First of all, the concerns about the ventilation plan at Upper Big Branch. Are you guys having that discussion with MSHA about any other mines? Is this same problem occurring in any other mines? And the second question is, were there any other readings? You talked about the methane readings. Were there any other readings taken at the beginning of that shift that would have indicated the presence of other explosive things, coal dust or other gases?
Let me answer the second one first. No, there was no indication of any other dangers that were called out. Under the pre-shift inspection report, the foreman is to call out any hazards that any other hazards that he might see, so they can be written in the inspection book, and the oncoming crew can know about them. And there were no other hazards reported. On the second one, Dawn, you're more familiar with the rest of the company, the details. Do you want to?
Well, I don't know if I followed the question. Would you repeat the first question?
The concerns that you guys were discussing with MSHA about the ventilation.
Okay. Again, in pointing out things that not only Massey but the industry might debate with MSHA, I don't want there to be any speculation that we think it relates to this accident, because we don't know. But you know, Massey has a rule in place, by the way, that the air on the minor sections has to be about twice what's required by law. And there's a lot of debate in the industry about ventilation in general. Air in old works, for example, which is flowing through there and it goes in from active works and comes out a hole in the back. Most companies believe that those areas should not be traveled, and therefore a determination made as to the conditions in every piece of that area, because it's unsafe to do so, and generally what goes in comes out. It's called walking returns. Because sometimes you get old works where you're putting air into them and you can't walk them, you may have to keep the, quote, dirty air in the mine longer to get it to a place that you can walk. So the keeping of dirty air